Hey everyone, Pugs here with two new reviews for y'all. Today I'm covering The Krabby Patty That Ate Bikini Bottom and Bubble Buddy Returns, two pretty standard Season 8 episodes. I was gonna use a different word there, but I don't want to spoil my opinions right away. Gotta hold some cards close to my chest. But these are two episodes that aren't talked about a lot, with The Krabby Patty That Ate Bikini Bottom specifically giving me those same afternoon rerun vibes that Welk Attack did. That's not a good or bad thing, just something that I've noticed. As always, thank you all for watching the video today, especially since it took so long to get this one out. And now, let's just get right into it. Alright, well y'all know I just love when this show dips its toes into other genres, especially horror. Now, of course, The Krabby Patty That Ate Bikini Bottom is for sure played for laughs a lot more than an episode like, say, Spongehenge was, but my point still stands. This episode reminds me a lot of Welk Attack, and it also makes me realize that as the show has progressed, the scope of the threats and conflicts faced in its episodes have kind of increased, at least somewhat. Like, I don't think destroying Bikini Bottom was much of a thing until, like, season 4? Unless we count Reef Blower or Dying for Pie, I guess. Though Sandy, SpongeBob, and the Worm also destroyed Bikini Bottom, so maybe it's not as new a thing as I think. But, I don't know, there's just a vibe here that wasn't before, you gotta believe me. The beginning of The Krabby Patty That Ate Bikini Bottom surprises me by giving me something that I always want, alternative character interactions. I know this isn't the best Sandy and Mr. Krabs interaction that we'll ever get, but I still like what I see. And it's at times like these that I realize how funny it is that literally everyone calls Mr. Krabs Mr. Krabs. Sometimes even Plankton does so, and that's so funny to me. Also, two things about this scene with Mr. Krabs and Sandy in the tree dome. One, I loved the lamp shading of the size of Sandy's tree dome changing based on inside versus outside. Also, I'm calling this a Doctor Who reference because I can. And two, I don't think that I didn't see what I'm going to perceive as a reference to SpongeBob SquarePants versus the Big One, with that helicopter that runs on coconut milk. My eyes see all references, even ones that aren't actually there. Once Sandy gives the growth serum to Mr. Krabs, it's pretty obvious what's going to happen, and then that thing does indeed happen, as Mr. Krabs pours the entire growth serum onto the patty. Once again, Mr. Krabs' short-sightedness is at play, and I love that because I love consistent character writing. And after a pretty funny joke about grocery bags and grocery stores, we cut to the Krusty Krab, where this patty is only getting bigger. Mr. Krabs' plan works for about 30 seconds before the Krabby Patty becomes unmanageable and starts eating everything, because sure, why not? Like, why does it start actively eating things? Who knows? I always like when SpongeBob and Squidward are on the same page, like they are here when they're trying to get the heck out of Dodge. Somehow, Plankton thinks approaching the giant Krabby Patty is a good idea, probably because much like Mr. Krabs, he's short-sighted as fuck, and he, of course, gets eaten too. Though, I guess at that point he wanted to be taken by the patty, so I guess he wins. He can make a religion out of that. Then the Krabby Patty starts going through Bikini Bottom, where everyone has apparently attended the Prometheus school of running away from things. Don't worry, I don't like CinemaSins, I just think that joke is really funny. Anyway, Conch Street then gets eaten up, and I'm glad that SpongeBob saved Gary, because if that didn't happen, I would have pulled up to Nickelodeon Studios myself, and that's just a fact. Thankfully for everyone, Sandy is a genius and she saves the day, although I guess it's SpongeBob who truly does the legwork of saving the day, as he's the one who needs to make direct contact with the Krabby Patty. When he does, he absorbs the Krabby Patty into his body, which yet again makes me think of Welk Attack. Like, how many times has SpongeBob's absorbency been the solution to a problem like this? I can think of at least 4 just from the past, 2 seasons. This isn't a complaint. In fact, I think it's I think it's a very funny solution, and I don't mind it being used with frequency. I'm just pointing it out. And somehow Mr. Krabs still gets the win in the end, and you know what? I'm fine with that, because he got his when he got eaten up by the patty originally, so it all evens out in the end. And then one last thing, but have I mentioned that this episode is absolutely hilarious? Because it is. Mr. Krabs is a riot here for the first few minutes that we see him, and his interactions with basically everyone are hilarious. And just all of the little jokes throughout the episode are so, so good. Like, the one with the stoplight, I just love controlled chaos, y'all know. And just like in Wormy. And so, bringing in the A+ humor factor of this episode, along with the fun aspects and the little splattering of horror here and there, there's no surprise that this episode lands itself in my amazing tier, where it comes in with a score of 9.3 out of 10. Well, cue the quote-unquote modern SpongeBob haters saying that the show references old episodes too much in 3, 2, 1... Just kidding, of course, because a quote-unquote modern SpongeBob hater would never be watching my channel. But seriously, I remember being super stoked when I first saw this episode years and years ago, because even if I never loved Bubble Buddy, and you should or you can slash should check out my review of it if you haven't, I was still happy to see such a direct reference to a previous episode here. As I've said time and time again, SpongeBob SquarePants doesn't really have much of a rigid, clear continuity, and so any kind of reference that can create a timeline out of this show is a win from me. Honestly, my only complaint here in regards to this episode being a reference is that the title card should have been done better. Like, it should have been all bubble letters, not this foolishness. Like, come on now, it just looks sloppy. Anywho, Bubble Buddy Returns begins with a bubble causing mischief around Bikini Bottom in a pretty funny way. Turns out that the bubble actually contains a letter for SpongeBob from Bubble Buddy, and not only that, but the bubble is Bubble Buddy's son, Shiny. Alright, let's get the elephant out of the room now. Yes, it would have been 100% more preferable if this episode was about Bubble Buddy returning for real, like ain't nobody care about his son. But I'm not that mad about this. Maybe it's, again, because I never cared for the original episode very much, so I'm not invested. I guess it doesn't exactly matter why, it's just the fact is that I'm not all that upset about Bubble Buddy only making a cameo appearance in the episode titled Bubble Buddy Returns. Though I will say I'm not a big fan of false advertising, so that's not great. SpongeBob then tries to introduce Shiny to Squidward, and this part is hilarious. I just love how Shiny is such a troublemaker. It makes the beginning of the episode make even more sense. Not that it ever didn't make sense, but y'all know what I mean. Also, this bit with Squidward introduces one of my favorite tracks in the series, Porous Pursuit, so that's super exciting. Like, underrated masterpiece, that one. But we'll see it used so much more after season 9, so I'm happy with that. And the scene, again, uses my favorite hot steel and slide lick, so I really just won twice when it comes to the OST. Mr. Krabs is then introduced to Shiny, and I, again, am rewarded for my love of any kind of continuity in this show when Mr. Krabs is all like, Bubble Buddy still owes me money. Shiny then causes more mischief at the Krusty Krab, making the floor slippery and almost causing another Krabs versus Plankton situation. And then the real breaking point is when he causes the money in the cash register to go everywhere. Yeah, Mr. Krabs ain't gonna let that one slide. We then get the amusing segment of Shiny going into town, complete with all of its dangerous, sharp objects. Though in the end, it's only SpongeBob who gets hurt, and the whole thing is pretty funny and enjoyable, especially with SpongeBob's freaking out, except for that last one where he's just completely, like, done with it all. Also, I think the fact that Bikini Bottom has all of these places is just inherently funny. And then the fact that in the end, after SpongeBob manages to save Shiny from all of that, he manages to pop the Bubble Kid by making him food. His ensuing freakout is hilarious. And of course, that's when Bubble Buddy shows up. But of course, this is just another Tuesday for Bubble Buddy. SpongeBob's last little muttering about babysitting was also funny, and it stands out to me from any SpongeBob ending, so congrats to this episode for that, I suppose. Bubble Buddy Returns was a really good episode for me, which I think might be an unpopular opinion. I'm not really sure. This episode probably would have been amazing tier if not for the bait and switch. Like, I know I said I wasn't mad about that, and, like, it still did happen though, and it was still slightly disappointing. So this episode is going in my great tier, where it comes in with a score of 8.8 out of 10. As always, I'll be ending this video with some closing thoughts of mine. I feel like right now, I'm trying to see how I can fit in making videos with the rest of my hectic life. Being sick really, like, threw a wrench in my plans. And oh my god, if y'all can hear this freaking lawn shit, I'm sorry. I feel like they're always doing lawn work the one time that I can record during the week, so it's kind of very annoying. Anyway, so yeah, being sick really threw a wrench in my plans. And that plus, like, going on break, which I'm about to, or I guess I already did by the time this review comes out. It all gets confusing. Anyway, and so I'm now, like, at the point where making videos isn't a huge priority for me. That's not to say I don't like doing it, because I do, but I just have a lot of other things on my plate right now, you know, so it's possible that I could be going down to one video a week. That's definitely on the table. Not really sure why I'm rambling about this in my closing thoughts, but I like to be transparent about my video making process and what y'all can expect from me. So yeah, just know that it's possible that uploads might be slowing down in the next few weeks, but they also might not as I get my schedule back in balance. It's really just a waiting game to see how things shake out. So I guess these closing thoughts had nothing to do with the episodes at all, but I felt like this all needed to be said. And I think that this is a good place to end too. So I'll close things out here, and I'll see y'all in the next review.